One of the things I frequently do when I'm printing pictures is to cut down the size of them but still print them on 4x6, and I'll show you how I do this in Photoshop Elements. But the results will be either a 4x6 that contains 4 photographs like this one, where they're 3 inches wide and 2 inches high, and I'll be cutting these apart to use on my layout, or this one that I've already cut apart, which was a 4x6, but I have one photograph that's 3 inches wide and 4 inches high, and then I have 2 more that are the 3x2 size. So it was a good way to make use of the space and still get a very inexpensive print. And I do this a lot whether I'm having them printed at a photo processor or I'm printing them on my own on 4x6 paper, because very often that's the least expensive way to print. I'm working in Photoshop Elements 9. This would work with many versions of Photoshop Elements, certainly the older versions, and it's a very basic process for cropping your photos so that you can print several small photos on one 4x6. I've selected 3 photos out of my organizer, and I'm going to crop them. I'm going to use the crop tool. Click on that, and before I start cropping I want to specify some sizes, some settings. So I'm going to change the width of this from 3 inches to a height of 2 inches, and one very important change will be the resolution of 300. You'll see why that's important in just a moment. Right? And then I'll crop the photo. And I'm going to do the same thing with the next one down here, the plates. I'm using some Thanksgiving photos, and I'm going to leave the size the same and just also crop it 3x2. And the last photo that I have, I want to crop it 3 inches, but I'm going to change the height to 4 inches. I want it to be a more vertical orientation, and we'll leave the resolution alone. Right. Now I'm ready to create a file to put these in. So when I do File New, Blank File, then I can specify my sizes. I want a width of 6 inches, a height of 4, and a resolution of 300. And there's that 300 again. So we have a consistent resolution between all of the items. That way, all I have to do at this point is click and drag the items that I've already cropped up to my new file. Place them, and I'm ready to save this and print it. So I would save it as a JPEG, and I could print it on my printer, or I could print it at a photo processor. I can crop and arrange whatever sizes I want in any arrangement, but then I can take these and cut them up and use them, and that's what we'll look at next, is how I used some of the files that I showed you at the beginning of the video. Once I have my photos cut apart, sometimes I use them just as they are, and other times I frame them with a little white mat because I think that looks nice, especially on the small pictures. This one has a mat that's cut 1/4 inch larger on both sides, so it was cut 3 1/4 by 2 1/4, and that leaves a 1/8 inch mat. This one was only cut 1/8 of an inch larger, 3 1/8 by 2 1/8, so that leaves a 1/16 of an inch mat. And so it just depends on the project as to what, how I want to leave them. And what I use for my mats, you can use any type of white cardstock, but I buy mine at the office supply store by the ream, and I use the cover weight. And you get, I think it's 250 sheets in a pack for somewhere $12, $13. So you get a lot of paper, and this white paper, you can use it for tons of things, and it's great for matting photos. It doesn't add a lot of bulk, but it still gives it a nice finish. So here's the layout where I used some of these smaller prints. that I was showing you at the very beginning of the video, I used a little bit wider white border, and to make it go with all these craft papers, I aged it a little bit with some antique linen ink from Ranger. Thanks for watching today.